get us off music.
Okay. Call this meeting to order. Roll call. Shannon.
Mayor Trujillo,
Here.
Commissioner Butcher,
Here.
Commissioner Compost,
Here.
Commissioner Gandy,
Here.
Commissioner Bolt.
Here. I will now lead us in prayer. Let's bow your heads, please. Lord, I want to thank you for this evening, Lord. I want to thank you for us as a community, Lord, gathering together to fight this epidemic we have in front of us, Lord. I ask you and pray that everyone help one another as well, Lord, in this community, and get on board and utilize the resources we have to feed our children and to make this work for the community at large. Lord, thank you for everything you've done for our nation, Lord, in regards to this COVID-19 virus, Lord. May you protect New York. May you protect California. May you protect us all, Lord. May you help stop the spread of this. May you bless us with knowledge, Lord, and strength that we may do what we're asked and not divide us amongst political grounds or anything. Right now, our objective is to overcome this as one unit, as a nation, Lord. Thank you for our local management team, our emergency response team for meeting every morning, Lord, and giving their advice to our community. Thank you for our community for participating, Lord, and doing what is asked of them, Lord. And we will overcome it, Lord. Thank you for our military, Lord, abroad. Thank you for all the nurses and the doctors and so forth that put themselves in harm's way today to prevent this from moving forward, Lord. I also want to thank you for all our commissioners here, Lord, the new elect and the re-elect, Lord, that you may bless us with knowledge and strength. And for the next few years that come up, Lord, may we do just for our community, Lord. I also want to say blessings to Scott since he's new, Lord. You give him also strength and wisdom, Lord, and give us a new set of eyes, Lord, what you've given us from this day forward. And may he bring new ideas and sharpen us on our old thoughts, Lord. I ask this in your name, Lord. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Okay, before we begin going over there, I'd like to read this statement in regards to how we're conducting our meetings today. When we reach public comment period before we start, please read. This is David, me. In respect to Open Meetings Act and the period of social distancing, we have provided a teleconference number for our citizens to utilize so that they may make public comment. We ask the public who have called in via the teleconference number to do the following. Number one, please state your name prior to beginning your comment. Number two, the mayor will identify you and permit you to speak. We realize that many may be on call, and we request that all who are participating to be mindful and that multiple people will speak at the same time. Please only begin your comments when the mayor calls on you. Please be patient. We will make sure your comments are heard. Number three, individuals desiring to make public comment will only be allowed 1 to 3 minutes, period, of their comments. If you are watching, number four, if you are watching the live stream and have called in, please be aware there may be a delay in what is streamed by video and the teleconference audio. This cannot be avoided. Number five, if you are watching the live stream and have called in, please mute the live stream audio on your video device as this will cause feedback issues for you. Number six, if you have called in via teleconference, please mute your microphone on your side until you are ready to make comment. Number seven, we thank everyone for their patience during this time. Okay. So, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Mayor, to consider a resolution to amend the agenda to introduce resolution 2020-024, a resolution authorizing advertising of an ordinance to implement a declared disaster and emergency provision in the utility rates billing and collection of the Lovington Municipal Code.
Second.
Had a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, roll call vote. Shannon?
Commissioner Compost.
Aye.
Commissioner Butcher.
Aye.
Mayor Trujillo.
Aye.
Commissioner Gandy.
Aye.
Commissioner Bolt.
Aye.
Thank you. We will be making roll call votes as we go on the decision making. Okay, next, do we have a motion to approve the minutes? We're not even going to approve the last minutes.
No, sir.
Okay,
No.
so, okay. Under action items, oath of office, Shannon?
Okay, Judge Finger is here, and he's going to administer the oath, starting with Mayor Trujillo.
Please stand and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, David A. Trujillo,
I, David A. Trujillo,
having been elected to the office of City Commissioner,
having been elected to the office of City Commissioner,
District 1,
District 1,
in the city of Lovington,
in the city of Lovington,
State of New Mexico,
state of New Mexico,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the State of New Mexico,
the Constitution and laws of the state of New Mexico,
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
of said office to the best of my ability.
of said office to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, sir. Commissioner Gandy. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, R. Scott Gandy,
I, R. Scott Gandy,
having been elected to the office of City Commissioner,
having been elected to the office of City Commissioner,
District 4,
District 4,
in the city of Lovington,
in the city of Lovington,
State of New Mexico,
state of New Mexico,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution and laws
constitutional laws
of the State of New Mexico,
of the state of New Mexico,
and I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of said office
discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my abilities,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Please stand and raise your right hand. I, Scott David Bolt,
I, Scott David Bolt,
having been elected to the office
having been elected to the office
of City Commissioner,
of City Commissioner,
District 2,
District 2,
in the city of Lovington,
in the city of Lovington,
State of New Mexico,
state of New Mexico,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the State of New Mexico,
the Constitution and laws of the state of New Mexico,
and I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of said office
discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to reorganization of the commission.
Thank you, Judge.
Shannon, reorganization of the commission. What?
We need to make a motion.
Yeah, I'm going to make a motion. Do I have a motion to reorganization of the commission?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for the reorganization of the commission.
Second it. Motion is second. Roll call?
Commissioner Butcher.
Yes.
Commissioner Compost.
Wait.
What?
So, just so I'm clear.
To
we've
move
made-
on this.
We've made a motion and we've got a second.
Yeah.
Should we discuss it on who we want where, or how should we handle that?
Mayor Commissioners,
No. I know, nobody said it. Get up here and say it.
typically we
do the selection of mayor and mayor pro tem as two separate motions. So someone would make a motion to appoint Commissioner someone as mayor, and that would be seconded, and then everybody could vote. If that doesn't carry, then you would do it again. And once we have the mayor selected, then you would enter into a separate motion and action for mayor pro tem.
So I'd like to
Let me just
make that motion to maintain Commissioner Hill as mayor.
I think you have to first, just for clarity's sake, since there was a motion to reorganize the
I'll just
commission,
make the motion.
let's just go ahead and take a vote on that, and then you can move into
Okay.
who is mayor and then who is that. So let's
Sounds
just
good.
clarify
Okay,
that.
Okay.
I just want to make sure we were clear before we went
Yeah.
much
It was
further.
all on the wrong page on that.
Okay,
Commissioner Compost,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Commissioner Butcher,
Yes.
Mayor Trujillo,
yes.
Commissioner Bowe.
Yes.
Now, I'd like to make a motion to consider Commissioner Hill to remain as mayor.
I'll second
And a motion is second. Shannon, roll call.
Commissioner Butcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Compost,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy,
No.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Butcher.
Yes, both. You can say you did get me. I thought you did. But
Okay,
yes.
so,
You said
oh yeah.
Commissioner Butcher
Bowe,
Yes,
Commissioner Bowe.
Yes.
I could take on two names, I guess. Both Butcher, both me down.
Under reorganization of commission, do I have a motion for nominating Mayor Pro Tem?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to nominate Bernard Butcher for mayor pro tem.
I second it. That's funny. Well, I mean,
Sounds good to me, my friend. Sounds good to my friend. Jump in there. Get the vote while you can.
Had a motion second. Shannon, roll call.
that's funny.
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Commissioner Compost,
Yes.
Commissioner Butcher,
Yes.
Mayor Trujillo,
Yes,
Commissioner Bowe.
Yes.
we have reorganized. Do we have thank you guys. Do we have a motion? Oh,
Yeah.
yes, sir. Go ahead.
Oh.
No, I was going to say.
No, we still have the resolution to go through.
Resolution.
Yeah.
We need public comment.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to do action items first and then wait till?
It's
Okay.
kind of on the
Okay.
deal that way.
Oh, okay, yeah, we're kind of like going,
So actually.
we can go on to, oh, yeah,
So,
well, let's go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for Resolution 2020-024, a resolution authorizing the advertisement of an ordinance to implement a declared disaster and emergency provisions in the utility rates, billing, and collection of the Lovington Municipal Code.
Second.
Motion second, by Commissioner Compass. Roll call vote, Shannon?
Okay, Commissioner Compost,
Aye.
Commissioner Gandy,
Aye.
Mayor Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Butcher.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to public comment.
Did you not want to discuss
Oh, okay,
for
yeah,
our members of the public?
just going by the agenda.
Okay.
I apologize for
No,
the
no
confusion
problem.
here. but
I think since we'll be advertising it and it will be available for the public to review, but for folks who are watching it, this will just help summarize.
Okay,
But if I may, so right now with our utility accounts, I know that at our last commission meeting, you had requested we come back with a plan to deal with our impacted economy due to the virus, as well as other issues that we're facing. So to start out with, we do have a couple of essential dates per our ordinance. On the 10th of every month, your utility bill, and when I reference utility bills, I mean your water, sewer, and garbage. That bill is due no later than the 10th of every month.
They typically go out, as a matter of fact, I got my bill for this month, it was postmarked March 20th. They typically go out between the 20th and 22nd. So our ordinance says that you should pay them between the 1st and the 10th. In the event that you do not get your payment submitted on time, we will have there's a 10% late fee added to your bill. You then have until the 26th of the month, which is the last day to pay that current bill. It's due. If you fail to come in and pay it, now of course we take into account if it's a weekend or a holiday, but if you fail to come in and pay it, there is a $50 penalty that is due. It has to be paid by close of business, and frankly, if you don't pay by the 26th, your service is subject to disconnection. So we typically, our cutoff date is typically the second Wednesday of every month. And that's for individuals who have not come in and paid their past due balance. And typically that means if you make that cutoff list, your bill is basically 1 month past due, or almost 2 months past due at that point. So we did look and did some comparisons as far as individuals who have paid the $50 penalty if they're really late and if they come in on the 27th. And we average anywhere from about 30 to 40 folks every month who come in and do that to avoid disconnection of their service. And if you look, the columns in blue are the 2019 calendar year, and the columns in green are the 2020 calendar year for January, February, and March. And you can see that compared to last year, it's about the same. When we look at the number of water disconnects, of course, the blue columns represent 2019, orange columns represent 2020 for January, February, and March. We average anywhere between 180 to 200 disconnects every month. Unfortunately, a lot of these are repeats that people face, and when their water is turned off, they do come into City Hall. They're required to pay their total balance due plus the $50 penalty, and service will be restored. We also looked at, a big question as far as unemployment rates. Is that tied to the number of disconnects? And it's not. The past 3 years, our unemployment rates represented by the bottom three colors. You can see 2020 is the bright blue, but our unemployment rates for the past 2 years have relatively remained consistent. Now, because of COVID-19 and the social distancing and the closure of non-essential businesses, we do expect the unemployment rates to spike tremendously. Really, there's not a lot of models for this out there. So we do allow, when we did our 2017 update, we do allow for 2 payment extensions per calendar year, January to December. You have to make that request by the 25th, and that essentially gives you 30 extra days to pay your account in full. There is a 10% late fee. However, if you fail to make that payment within 30 days, you get a $50 penalty added and your service is disconnected. When we looked at the number of extensions that have been granted year to date, we've had 52 extensions granted, and only 11 folks or 11 customer accounts have already used their 2 extensions for the calendar year. So typically, just to kind of break it down, we also have to remember we don't believe that we're going to have too much of a problem this month as far as customers staying current with their utility accounts. One is the bills just did come out, and also early April we should be expecting the federal stimulus payments that each adult is going to receive $1,200. This is income-based, but for instance, right now married couples with no children with an adjusted gross income of $150,000 or less will receive $2,400. This does start to phase out as you get higher. I can't remember. I want to say it was $198,000 for married couples with no children. Each additional child under 16 is worth $500. So with this is meant to help the economy out, but also help Americans who may be facing unemployment due to the COVID virus. This will give them money to pay rents, pay utilities, pay their water bills, pay their electric bills, the necessities needed to continue. In addition, we also have to remember that unemployment, of course, it was last week, I want to say, unemployment claims, there was already like 3 million unemployment claims nationwide. They have relaxed it. I know here in the state of New Mexico, they've got those programs going, and the federal government has also expanded those. Even if your hours have been cut, you can still obtain that unemployment to make up those lost hours. So if you got cut back to 30 hours, you can actually get compensated for that additional 10 hours that you lost. And it's, I think the maximum benefit is $460, or it may actually be $600 now per week that you're eligible for. So they're trying to create these programs just to get us through, since some folks can't go to work. So to kind of walk everybody through what happens. So your bill is typically due on the 10th. If you make payment before the 10th, your account's current. If you fail to make it, you get a 10% late fee. Your payment is still due, but you have between the 10th and the 25th to go ahead and pay that. On the 25th, or if you make that, your account's current, plus that 10% late fee. If you go in before close of business on the 25th, you do get an extension. You can request an extension, which is good, and you have 30 days to make that payment. Now, if for some reason you don't file for an extension, on the 26th, you're charged an additional $50. You make your payment, your account will be current. If you fail to pay or make your payment, you will be subject to disconnection. With the requesting the extension, you can get a $50 penalty, as well as requesting a second extension. But the problem is you got to make that payment in 30 days, or you're subject to disconnection. That's typically how that works. So what we have come up with is this draft ordinance, and because of the emergency declaration that the commission made on the 23rd, as well as the state of emergency, we're actually able to, I guess you could say, almost fast track this ordinance. We're still going to be advertising it in our local paper, and as well as the Hobbs News Sun, to get that and post that out on our website for folks to review. If we are given permission tonight, which we were through your resolution. But we will actually bring this back to commission on April 13th at our regular meeting for adoption. And this ordinance is actually designed to make sure that we can keep water on to folks and we can assist them, but at the same time, we can make sure that we have revenues coming in to make sure we can continue to supply the water and the sewer. So the ordinance addresses when we can implement this, and this is a brand new section to our ordinance. When addresses disconnections, payment extensions, repayment plan, also cessation of the disaster or emergency period, and as well as when this goes into effect. So for this, of course, we made the declaration on the 23rd, so we're already set. So what happens is, with this particular ordinance in section 1312-290, it addresses the implementation, but in section 300, during the declared disaster emergency period, services will not be disconnected due to lack of payment during the declared emergency or disaster. This does not, however, include accounts that were past due prior to the declared emergency. So if you were already behind, you can still have your water service disconnected. We're not wanting to disconnect water for sanitation reasons, in particular with this type of emergency, when sanitation and hygiene is the most important thing we can do in combination with social distancing. So the other thing that we have included in this draft ordinance right now is the means for payment extensions. During the declaration period, there is not a limit on the number of extensions you can request. In addition, it does not count any extensions or count against those extensions during normal operating. So if you've already requested two, and now that we're in this emergency period, you can actually request additional ones, and there is no limit. So if this goes on for 6 months and folks are having problems, you can actually have up to 6, because we require you to renew this every 30 days. And we've already created our draft documents for this, and opening it up to where you don't have to physically be here. We will accept email documents. We will accept them faxed to us. We'll accept them through the drive-through as well as through the Dropbox. Now, you're not automatically granted this extension, because there's a couple of things that you have to do. One, One of those, of course, submit the form, but you have to provide us with proof of income. And basically, the only way that you're eligible for this payment extension is if, based on your income level, as well as the number of people in your household per your last filed tax return, you have to be at or below the federal poverty line. And you can look those up. I believe for right now, a family of 4, your annual gross income will be below $26,200, I think, or it was $24,200. Those tables are on the Health and Human Services, because that is, at that point, yes, we will grant it. But if you were making, let's say, $80,000 or $90,000 a year, your pay was cut in half, you're well above the poverty line, and you should be able to pay those utility bills. So what we would do as far as proof of income is you would have to provide us with current stubs. If an individual comes in and says, hey, I don't have a job, I have no income coming in, we are definitely going to put them in contact with the state unemployment offices, because they have that option to provide for their families as well as provide for those utility bills. In addition to that, of course, I'm sorry, I forgot I had that slide. So a family of 4, $26,200. And that's how we would figure that. Now, once the end of the incident is actually declared by the City Commission by resolution, now we get into the repayment. So with repayment, one is, yes, we would want it paid in full right after that. We are following the guidelines established by Lee County Electric. They do have a moratorium in the winter months where if you can't pay your bill, they will not disconnect you. However, at the end of that moratorium, you have 3 months to repay any of those past due balances. So what we're looking at is, with repayment, you will request a repayment plan. It's due on the first day of that month. You'll submit the form. We will tell you exactly what you owe. And we're not going to break out payments for you. If you choose to pay a third, and a third, or a little bit more than a third, over 3 months, that's great. If you want to pay it all up front, or if you want to wait until day 89 or 90 to pay it up front, to pay all of the past due balance, that is totally up to you. On our extension form, we stress pay what you are able to, so it doesn't accumulate and compound. On the extension, on the payment plan, we stress you need to pay on this because you don't want to get hit with this large sum. I can tell you right now, the minimum bill here in Lovington is $69 and some change, and that's for 3,000 gallons of water, residential 1 polycart, as well as your sewer. But what we're looking at is you have to pay on the 10th of every month. You have to pay your current bill on the 10th of every month. If you decide to pay extra towards your past due balance, that's great. However, in the event that you don't pay your bill on the 10th, the payment plan is voided and everything is due immediately, and your service will be disconnected. We're hoping that those who simply are struggling can take advantage of this, but we just are stressing to all of our folks out there, all of our customers, that they do need to pay these bills just like any other utility bill that they have. But this is actually the best that we could come up with to make sure that we can preserve our revenues to continue operation of the well field, to continue operation of our sewer plant, also pay for trash services. But I would stand for any questions the commission may have.
Any questions about it?
Good.
As far as right now, James, what is our late fee?
Our late fee, it's still, if you don't pay it on the 10th, a 10% late fee is added. If you don't come in and pay it by the 26th, a $50 penalty is added to the account.
But our late fee right now is 10%.
Yes, sir.
James, on advertising this ordinance, it will be on the city webpage?
Yes,
In case
sir.
somebody asks, we just say.
It will, if we get approval tonight, tomorrow morning, we'll actually have a copy of that ordinance on our homepage at lovington.org.
All right.
As well as they can actually access it tonight. It's part of the Novus agenda packet.
Yeah, very good.
So this motion did carry. Do I have a final motion?
You need to have public comment, sir.
Oh, public comment? Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Unmute it. And we do have
We do have one.
Mrs. Bolt here who wants to update you on some chamber stuff.
Okay.
But I would recommend that we wait the full minute. We don't have any callers other than that phone and the computer right now.
Did we vote on this resolution already?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yes, we do. We cut like.
We voted, but then we had the discussion.
Okay, I was just confused.
Yeah, everything's kind of one of the confusing nights. Thank you.
Muted.
Les?
Okay. Hi, I'm Leslie with the Lovington Chamber. I wanted to update the community about the small business disaster loans that are available. The information is coming up fast and furious. I know that we have the U.S. CARES Act. This is one part of it. We have mailed out to all the members packets of all the information from Small Business Administration. We also have it in the come and go lobby so they can actually step into the front vestibule, grab the information and leave. We have it up on our website. We are blasting it through emails and on Facebook and Twitter. We really want the businesses to know that there is help coming. There's an emergency $10,000 fund for all our businesses to apply for. We want them to jump on that and at least try to get it. It's also open to the 501c3s, and I believe they just opened it to the 501c6s. So one thing that's very important right now is the Paycheck Protection Program. This is how to apply to get help paying your employees. I want to get all the businesses the information in their hands so if they're trying to protect their payroll, they can have the information to apply for this money and perhaps get some help for our community. So I have copies. I've given them to the city, to Shannon, to James. Also, I have them available and we've mailed them out. So if anybody wants the information or contact numbers to do some business counseling during this time, that's also available. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone again understands the importance of getting this information in the hands of our businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call. Shannon?
Commissioner Compost,
Yes.
Mayor Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Dancy,
Yes.
Commissioner Butcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolt.
Yes.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.